Today is May 26th. Yo, if it focuses, today is May 26th. And my birthday is tomorrow, guys. It's on the 27th. A lot of people think it's on the 30th. But we're just throwing a party on the 30th in Atlanta. But yeah, it is May 26th at 8:02. And today we're going to talk about what I feel like. Let me just go ahead and readjust this. Boom. Today we're going to talk about what I feel like is pretty much the highlights that help me progress in trading. But as I go through that, I want you guys to know that I do all this information, all this knowledge for you guys for free. I don't want anything in return. I just want you guys to pick it up, soak it up, and use it. And as you use it and become a better person, become a better trader, because one, you can't become a better trader until you become a better person, mentally, physically, emotionally. With that being said, as you get better and become a better person, I want to encourage anybody and everybody to spread that knowledge, spread that positivity throughout the world. And it starts, because I need to say this more, but it starts within a small group, a small foundation, a small community, right? Of course, I want to be bigger. I'm going to try to get bigger every day, but I only want to get bigger because I know somebody's going to take my videos and they're going to become a leader too as well. And they're going to do the same thing. And then they're going to put a fire in somebody to do the same thing. The more we come together and come united as a community and start to understand that we work better together than we are separated, the stronger everybody becomes, right? I want to strengthen people. I'm not here to harm anybody, steal from anybody. I don't want to use anybody. I don't want to guide anybody in the wrong directions. I see a vision in my head and I think about it. I've been thinking about it since I was 21, or actually since I was like 20. And turning 23 tomorrow is just making me more and more clear every day that there needs to be a change within people's mind to understand that we don't have to be separate, right? We walk past people on a daily basis every day that we don't talk to, that we don't even know, right? And of course, there's weird people, evil people out there. But I feel like there's only evil people out there because there's not enough people out there sharing love and positivity. And I'm not talking about a romantic way. I'm talking about a community way. Friends, like, hey neighbor, you need help with this? Hey, you need help with that? Or hey, what do you need advice on? Or are you having a great day? Things like that, right? That can go a long way. Sharing a piece of knowledge or a piece of information to somebody can go a long way for their lives. So I feel like as I'm doing this, it's going to empower somebody, and I want it to empower people later on to, one, become the best version that they can be. But as soon as you do that, enjoy your fruits of your labor, help your family and friends, but also help the people that don't have that hope. And this is not talking about giving money away, because like, I am a strong believer in giving somebody something is literally going to tear them apart, because you're not mentally prepared. If you give somebody something, let's say if I give somebody 10K, if their brain isn't mentally prepared to have that 10K, they're just going to lose it anyways. So the best knowledge, or the best thing that you can do, is give people knowledge and wisdom. Because if you give something to somebody, that characteristic is not built in them to maintain it. Maintenance and staying stable is the only way that you scale. If you think about wealth is because it is maintenance, is maintaining, and is stable, but it's also consistent, right? Building this trading skill, you have to have consistency. You have to be able to be stable, have great maintenance, and great decision-making skills and emotional stability. So with that being said, enjoy the video. Love you guys. So a lot of people get into the trading space thinking that it's solely based off of entries and exits without coming to the terms or even coming to the thought of to even place those entries and exits, you have to make a decision to do so. There's a lot of people that I know that trade for hedge funds, right? And they're way better at trading capital for someone else when there's somebody else at risk than it is for their own personal risk. Vice versa. I know people that are very good at having analysis, and then they can mark it up and see it play through, and it plays through. But the moment they actually put something on the line, put some type of risk on the line, it hits them emotionally and has them thinking or doing different things that they are not used to. Trading is not just about the strategy that you're using. Once again, anybody can trade any type of strategy and it works for them. That's why we're all different characters. But I want people to understand that it's more of an emotional stability that you have to have. And in order to have that stability in you, it's going to cause you to have great decision making skills. But you also have to fix on your decision making skills and what decisions are needed and which ones are not, right? Trading is solely that to me. It's about making great decisions, but also being emotionally intact to when you are putting yourself in a position. So when you're putting yourself at risk, your brain to itself is not freaking out, right? Let's say this prime example. You put yourself in a dangerous neighborhood, a dangerous scenario. You put yourself in that situation knowing that the probability of something happening is super high, right? You need to put yourself in a situation or an environment where you can put yourself there and the probability of something bad happening is very slim. So the same way with the charts, do not put yourself in a trade where it can go either way. Don't put yourself in a sketchy trade where something bad is most likely going to happen. It's a high percent chance. You need to make sure that whenever you are trading, you're putting yourself in the lowest probability of something going wrong, right? And that comes from your decision making skills, being able to point out things that you know, this is a red flag, this is a green flag, red, stay away from it, right? Those are what's going to keep you afloat, because one thing I always tell people, the higher time frame is going to move the direction it needs to move. You can trade the smaller time frame, but the higher time frame is always going to make up for that. Smaller time frame is literally building up to whatever the higher time frame is doing. So why not just trade on the higher time frame? And then with that being said, when you do that, you have enough time to process things, right? You have 24 hours for every 1 hour candle. You have 6 hours for every 4 hour candle to process everything. And the moment that you process, you can have a great decision afterwards, right? It takes like 2 to 3 days for price for me to set up on the higher time frame. Right around 3 days it takes for price to set up. Once it finally set up, I've already processed the fact that it's going on this trend or the next trend. So that way, when it is time for me to make a decision, I've had enough time to sit down with my thoughts to make a great rational decision or reasonable decision. So today we're going to talk about how decision making skills and overall being emotional or like emotionally attached to, not emotionally attached, but intact. Emotionally intact is going to take you further than anything, because I used to struggle with greed. I had a big problem with struggling with greed because when I was 16, I was homeless, and then I moved in with my mom, my biological mom, for the first time when I was 17. And moving in, and she wasn't able to get a job legally, I was able to pick up all the pieces for me, my brother, my sister, and my mom, and it caused me to work. So I was constantly in a cycle of just continuing to work. But when I got into trading, I seen that trading had the capabilities to take me further, but in my head, I thought I could get there as fast as possible. So whenever I got into trades, I could be in some good trades, but I'll be like, I'll be up $100 and I'll be like, nah. Or I'll be up $90 and I'll be like, nah, I need to see 100. And then it will be a good trade, and that trade is trying to give me $90, but I'm like, nah, I want 100 out of it. And it would cause me, it'll even sometimes go up to 91, 92, 93. It'll be like, hey, are you going to take 93? But I'll be so greedy. I'm like, nah, I want 100. And then it'll just go all the way back down to my stop loss and stop me out instead of me taking the market for what it was, right? Greed made me, the emotions that I had made me make decisions that I knew I should have just got out of my trade. If price is telling me, hey, this is as far as we're going up, or this is as low as we're going, I should have took it for what it is, right? The markets is going to be a communicator to you. So your emotions to the market isn't really going to, it's a selfish game, right? You have to abide by what the market is telling you and what the market is doing, right? It's kind of like the market is our boss. Think of it as it's like your boss, but in a way where your boss is lenient enough to give you freedom, if that makes sense. So every morning we wake up, we go check on our boss, see what he's talking about, he or she, whatever you want to call the markets. See what your boss is talking about, see what the markets is talking about. The markets is going to communicate to you, hey, boom, 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 we got this assignment, this assignment, this assignment. You get it done. So your assignment is pretty much marking up the charts, getting the analysis right, and then boom, turning in your paper, turning your assignment. And you turning in your assignment is you entering that trade, right? Some people turn in their assignments late. They get a bad grade. Some people turn in their assignments too early, or they miss something, right? Or even sometimes when you turn in something early, it might be incomplete, right? You didn't fully let it process, or you didn't fully let everything come to play how it should. So when you go at the right time, you get good feedback, and that's when you find out about your decision, right? I like to think of the markets as a decision making like skill. It helps you build these, because there's been plenty of times where I FOMO'd or had some type of emotion in me that told me, man, I should just get in that trade because I want to. Once again, that greed that I had, it was because I had the greed. The market doesn't have greed. The market doesn't have greed. It's abundance. The market knows it can go forever. It knows it can go as long as it wants to go, right? The market is going to be here 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years plus. It knows it has a long time. So you have to think the same way. So if the market is heartless, how many times have you been in a trade with your last couple of bucks and you know you needed to pay for something and you wanted this trade to work out and it didn't work out, right? The market said, fuck you, fuck what you got going on. It's heartless. So you have to be the same way as well. When it comes to certain situations, you have to be heartless as well. You have to think to yourself like, dang, even though I feel this way about this trade, or even though I want to be in this trade and be in this setup, I know it's not for me. Fuck that trade. We're on to something different. You got to be heartless to yourself, because you right now is just thinking out of pure, like, I'm just trying to chase it. I'm just trying to chase. But you chasing it is making it run away. So you have to be more nonchalant, more like, okay, it's whatever. All right, that trade's not for me. Cool, on to the next. Oh, I took a loss, on to the next. Because when you do that, the markets is going to be like, oh shit, okay, you understand. The markets is going to tell you, you understand me, right? Because there's times where you might even be in a really good setup. Like, I won't say every setup is going to be the best or is going to be 100%. There's some A plus setups that I had, and it was really good. And then the market said, fuck that, we're doing something different. But it's just, okay, I see how it is. Cool. Okay. Doesn't affect me, doesn't bother me, right? Doesn't hurt me. And then I move on to the next, because one thing I do know, it's an abundance, right? The market is forever going to go on. So I don't have to think in my head like, dang, like that was it. That's over. It's over with. I don't have to think of it like that. So when it came to my greed, I always kept thinking in that mindset, trying to fix it. And I'm thinking in more of a mindset of an abundance and being like, okay, well, I know this one trade didn't work out, but I still have 251 more trades. It's 252 business days that you can trade throughout a year. So if one day don't work, you still got 251 more, 250, 249, and so forth, so forth. So I know one day wasn't going to hurt me, but it took me like not even discipline, because discipline is just built up off of doing the same thing over and over, right? For somebody that goes to the gym, they go to the gym. I'm pretty sure in the beginning when you first started, it was so hard for you to keep doing it, but it became your habit. It became your routine to so much where you just do it automatically. But it was one of those things where you knew that if you just stuck with it, eventually you wouldn't care, right? So it's the same way with wins and losses. you win, you lose so much, it gets to a point where you're just like, okay, well, I'm used to it. This is nothing. I'll go on to the next day. Not every day in the gym is going to be a great day. Not every day at work is going to be a great day. Not a good day, right? That's just how it works. It's the same way you're taking your life principles and you're transferring it to the markets. Everything you've learned in life, you're just transferring the same things. A lot of people, they get on the charts and they feel like they're just in a different world, but you're really in the same world. For one, the people that are placing the orders are human beings, right? They probably have like systems and robots and stuff that place it for them, but a human being made that decision to buy at this certain level or to sell at this certain level. A human being made that decision. So if we are humans, we've all experienced pretty much similar things in life. Pretty much all of us have experienced some type of similar problem or situation in life. And with that being said, there's around 23 different personalities in the entire world. 23. It's right around 23. 23 different personalities, and there's 9 billion people in the world. Something has to be the same, right? Something is going to be the same. And I am like, not even something. Most of everything is going to be the same. That's why when you are searching for a friend or, just vibing with somebody, you probably notice that they act similar to somebody you've previously met, right? Because there's only 23 personalities. So you're going to roll onto the same thing every single time or every other time. You got, 23 out of 9 billion, something like that, however you want to play it. But as every person you meet, if you put 100 people in a room, at least 25% of the people are going to be in the exact same mindset, right? So with that being said, when it comes to the market, you have to be in the exact same mindset as the market, but also that comes from experiences that you've seen the market provide you. You need to relate yourself to the markets in a way, right? And once again, that goes back to putting yourself in a mindset where you're just flowing with whatever the market is providing to you. Because think about it like this. If somebody gets married, people that have been married for, let's say, 40 plus years, they're damn near identical in a way because they've known each other for so long that they not only are they together as two different individuals, they come together because they are pretty much in sync. They're pretty much one, as in one. So it sounds kind of weird, but you have to become one with the market. And it might sound like some freaking meditation, voodoo, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you would call it, but you really have to become one with the market. And this is not just, I'm not just saying it just because it sounds good. I'm saying it because the moment that I started to see the market didn't really care for what I had going on, and I started to care more about what the market had, the market would then feed back to me. It was like a weird thing. Like the market won't give you rewards until you give the rewards first. And the market is only going to reward you when you reward the market with pretty much, how would I even classify that? The markets will reward you when you reward it in pretty much attention or with a personality match. I don't know the exact words to give off of that, but I know what I want to say in my head. I just don't know the words to fit. But the market wants you to mimic it. The market wants you to do exactly what it wants. It wants you to follow, right? For you to become a leader, you have to follow some type of inspiration. So think of it like that. The markets is the inspiration. It's providing you with the idea, your analysis. So the market, you see the market, you seeing it, you get an idea, you get some type of motivation because your idea sounds good in your head, and you take that inspiration and you give it back to the markets and say, here, this is what I have. This is the analysis that I have. And the markets will provide you with an answer if your inspiration and idea is good or not. And when it provides to you, it'll tell you. And once it tells you, you go on to the next. How many times have somebody actually ran a business or tried to run a business and you had this idea, this idea, this idea. This wasn't good. This wasn't good. You know, this was the best. I like this one. I didn't like this one. It's the same thing. The same principles. Don't treat trading as it's different from anything else. You're still learning the same life hacks, life tips, everything that you do in your normal life. You're going to take those same lessons and pour them into your trading as well. So when you're making decisions, you need to think of it as people. Think of trading as people. There's a lot of people in the game. There's 14 million traders in the world. 23 personalities. They're all people placing those orders. So think in the mindset of that. Everybody's greedy. So the market's going to take advantage of that. Everybody's trying to overtrade and get as much as they can, grab as much as they can. Markets is going to take advantage of that. The moment you show weakness is the moment that the market will take advantage of it. Once again, the market is heartless. It's going to take advantage of your weakness. So if you think the market's strong, then you should think of yourself the same way and only use your strong traits. That's why I tell people all the time, when it comes to a time where you are trying to become a trader and you're trying to move on to your journey, first start off with the foundation of your strengths and weaknesses. The moment you find out what your strengths and weaknesses are, you can build up from that. And that's what you need. A lot of people don't start with who they are and what type of strengths and weaknesses they have. So they don't know exactly where to build that building from. How are you going to build a building with no concrete floor, with no concrete on the ground to build up off of? A lot of people try to build with just the floors, the levels. No concrete base, they just build straight up. And then you wonder why, if it's a rainy day, your house is just sinking in now because you have no foundation, right? So I tell people all the time, decision-making skills and having emotional stability is going to be your biggest traits when it comes to trading in general, because you're making decisions. But as you're making those decisions, once you make the decision, you have to be emotionally stable to, one, stick with that decision that you made, and also to stay afloat while that decision is like in progress, right? For one, let's go back to the first one. Some people, they get into a trade or they have this analysis, but if a small thing happens, they change their entire plan, right? Let's say if you have a friend, right? Your friend he has all the ideas, he or she has all the ideas, but then when it comes time to actually doing the idea, oh, no, let's not do that, or, oh man, and then they start getting all fidgety and fumbly, and it's like, but that was your original decision, right? Or it could be times where, let's just say you're in a trade and you've been in this trade for an hour or so, and then eventually you're like, oh man, maybe I should close. I don't know how I feel anymore. And like, those are your emotions going against you. That's you going against yourself, right? I still struggle with it sometimes. Sometimes I'm in a trade and I'm like, dang, maybe I'm wrong. But then I gotta tell myself, I worked so hard to have that stability over my emotions to let everything play out, right? You won't know the answer until everything plays out. So all the emotions that you feel in between are normal, but those are the emotions that's trying to get you from seeing the end. A lot of people, they either mess up at one or two places. They mess up at the start. Some people don't start. Some people are scared to start. Some people start, but they don't fully execute. And then the people that do fail, as when they are starting, they give up, and then they just don't even see it through. So another thing that I would tell people is see everything through, because that is the best way you'll get all your answers. You need to start, execute, see it through, get the result. So once again, start, execute, see it through, end it, right? Get the results. Because when you do this, you can then notate yourself. So take notes on yourself, journal yourself. What does my start normally look like? What does that process look like? When I start, At what time do I start? What do I feel when I start? What makes me more comfortable to start? What got me to that point where I can start? What do I need to do to start? Find those. Ask yourself a lot of questions when it comes to that start. Because that's your entry. Think of it like that. That's your entry. How can I even get into an entry? What makes me feel good when I get into an entry and feel comfortable so that I make the best decisions? Once again, in order to make good decisions, you have to have a clear mind. You got to have emotional stability. You need to be able to think and process things so you can make the best decisions. So when it comes to that, am I mentally clear? If I'm mentally clear, how do I go from there? What do I feel when I'm starting? Time of day. What are you doing? Off the wake. And this is not that thing where I'm telling you, oh, you need to make a routine and wake up at 4 a.m. and all this. That as a person that's been full-time trading for 5 years now, I personally don't even have a routine that I do every single day, right? I should, but to me, like how my character is built, I can't really function off of a routine. I like to live my life in freedom. It gives my brain to wake up and know that, okay, I can do anything. So it allows my brain to expand its mind into different options, right? That's why I like to keep everything simple, because my brain doesn't have too many different things to choose from, but it also knows that I have versatility. So with that said, find where you start. Notate that. When you execute, how do you execute? When do you execute? What makes you execute? Notate that. During the execution process, how are you feeling? What is running through your mind? Write these things down. Notate it. Voice note it. Write these things down. Because one thing people don't understand is you cannot get better at trading if you don't know what is making you do trading. And I'm not talking about just getting into trading. I'm talking about you need to really understand, like, okay, I'm in this trade. It's making me feel X, Y, and Z. It's making me feel happy because I see that it's going in my direction. Or I feel good about my analysis. Write that down. What analysis did you do to make you feel happy? Because those are the emotions you need to have on every trade. Because it builds your confidence and it builds your self-esteem. So that way, when you are in trades, you feel 100% sure about it. You're standing on it. And the moment that you are wrong, it's not going to knock your ego down, but it's going to make you say, okay, well, what did I do wrong? Or what did I not see that I seen? Because I was super happy about what I seen, but it didn't work out. Once again, that market doesn't care if you're happy or not. But then you can take that, oh, I lost. I was so good about it. I was so sure about it. But what did I miss? That's you taking accountability. Like, I was so great about this. This trade felt so good. But then it didn't go out. What did I do wrong? You find those answers out by writing all this down. It can be times where you don't feel 100% about a trade and then you lose. Well, I already know that I wasn't feeling too good about this trade, so I know that it was most likely going to come to a loss. But why did I feel not sure of the trade? Why did I feel upset about the trade? And you take that and you dig deep into why you felt that way, and you remove that. You need to analyze everything that you do. With me, there's some times where I get into a trade and I'm just like, I'm not really feeling it. But it'll be because, let's say, structure broke and I wasn't going to count it, but I kind of like avoided it. And I was just doing different things to like kind of avoid what I seen. So when I got into the trade, I'm just like, I don't know if I should be in this trade, but I still stick it through. Just because you're not feeling it, still stick it through. There's some trades where I didn't feel 100% about it, but since I was already in it, stick it through. With this being said, as you're recording yourself and, journaling yourself through the execution process, wondering how you feel, once you get to the end of it, I need you guys to write down directly win or loss. Did I win or lose? I lost, I won. Write it down. Let's say you lost. I lost the trade. Okay. From here, don't instantly try to figure out why you lost. Write down what you feel in that moment. I just took a loss. I feel X, Y, and Z right now. It's making me feel this way. So then when you do that, I need you guys to take a break. Take an hour off, take 2 hours off, maybe take the day off. And then come back. Depending on you, you might need an extra day. You might need 4 hours. You might need 1 hour. Make sure it's anything 1 hour or above. Come back after that. So 1 hour, 1 day, come back and analyze what you did wrong or what you could do better or what did you miss. Because one thing is, when you lose, your brain, it feels failure, but it tries to recoup that failure and tries to make instant success. A lot of people, they fail and they want to instantly succeed right after to make up for their failure. So when you lose, your brain is going to be like, well, how can I win now? So it's going to think more in a mindset of not, what did I do wrong? But it's going to think more in a, how can I fix it right now? Right? And when you take a loss, it's really bad to try to fix things when it's like broken already. So if you broke something, let's say if you dropped a plate and you're trying to pick up the pieces and glue it all together right then and there, you're just acting irrational when you could, dang, I broke the plate. Okay, let me clean it up. Boom. You clean it up, throw it away. You sit and go do something else. And then you come back and you're like, dang, I did break that plate, but I could just buy, let's say, another plate now. Whatever the case might be. But a lot of people, they'll lose a trade. They'll look at it. They'll be like, no, let me try to fix it right now. Let me fix it right now. And the plate is the worst example to use, but you get what I'm saying. Don't try to fix that problem fast. Sit on it. Hey, I lost. I feel this way because I lost. That's it. Come back, let's say 4 hours later or more. And then when you come back, now your brain is thinking from a standpoint of, okay, what did I do wrong and what is next? Because in your brain, your what's next after those 4 hours or 1 day, your brain is going to be like, okay, it's processed everything already. It understands it lost. It went through all that. You've dealt with your emotions. You've probably cried for the past 3 hours, 4 hours. But now on hour 5 or the next day, you kind of already went through, like, you can only cry for so long. And then you're like, okay, I got to suck it up. I'm living another day. You're going to wake up another day. So with that being said, you then, get into the markets again and you're like, okay, I could have did better on this and that. So then you have your result, but now you have a reason of what took you to that result. And you can look back over everything, right? Everything. So I'm gonna show you guys a prime example of how I like to have a thought process when it comes to trading. Haven't placed a trade yet, but these are just my thought processes that I do when it comes to being ready or being prepared for a trade and trying to get myself set up. Because a lot of people don't think that it's about psychology. But you always hear, oh, trading's 90% psychology, 10% execution, and all this other stuff. It's 100% about psychology. Because the moment you put money on the line, you're at a risk. Humans are not naturally, they're not naturally prepared for risk, or they're not naturally used to risk. It's not something that we're used to when we're born. I can't think of the word right now, but as we're born, we're in a world where everything is already set in standard, right? Everything is already set in a path where you need to follow. So the moment you step out, so trading is like stepping out of that line and doing something completely different. So every decision you make in trading, your self-conscious brain is thinking about that narrow path, that straight path that it could have took. So when you're trading, you're placing a trade, you're like, dang, I'm really putting my money on the line when I could just use this and save up and do what I'm supposed to be doing. But instead I'm taking this risk to do what I want to do, right? The government, the higher power, whatever you want to call them, they already have a path for you when you're born, right? They don't want you to be an entrepreneur. Why do they think, like, they don't want you to become an entrepreneur? Why do you think it's so hard to become one? Oh, you gotta set this up, or you gotta do this, or you gotta have this skill and this and that. It's hard to do that. But it's easy to go to school, do the test, grades, go to college, and then get a job that they want you to get. It's easy to do that, right? But becoming free and becoming having that freedom is super hard to do that. It's super hard to get freedom. And I don't want to sit up here and be like, oh, don't work a job, because I'm a firm believer in 9 to 5s. I think 9 to 5s is where you build your foundation. Me personally, I worked 2 jobs at 18, one from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. and one from 10 p.m. all the way back to 7 a.m. I worked out with the management to help me go from that 7 a.m. job back to my morning shift. So I would get there at like 8 sometimes, and I worked it out, but I bust my ass because I knew that what I was building was going to take me somewhere. Now, did I know I was going to be a millionaire or, more than that? No, I didn't, actually. I didn't. But I was a firm believer in, if I am building a foundation, I'm building a house. I'm building some type of infrastructure. At a time, I was probably thinking that I was going to build a shack up, and then I ended up building a house, and then I ended up building a mansion, and now I'm building a skyscraper, right? And then who knows what after that? A fucking monument, a city. But you have to start with that foundation first. You have to start with that first. A lot of people try to get in here with no foundation. How can you build something with no foundation? So, this is going to be me showing you how I think, how I process the charts, what's going through my mind. Yeah. Enjoy. Love you guys. And remember. All right, so today is the 26th. It is 9 o'clock. We are looking at gold on the 4-hour time frame. As you can see right now, like we talked about that day that it pumped up. So Sunday, price had pumped up, didn't come in with enough volume for Monday. So Memorial Day, there was a holiday. So as you can see, price stayed at this level. So stayed at this high, the swing high here. And mind you, remember swing highs is where sellers are sitting. So since sellers are sitting here, you can see that price tried to push through, failed to do so, made a higher low, tried to push through again, failed to do so again. So with this being said, it ended up rejecting. So I can see that price here has a strong amount of sellers. So to be honest, we don't need this anymore because we know that if price starts to come up, we can see that it can just come to here and it possibly might not break. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this high because honestly, I don't want to buy from this level to this level because I can already see that this level is still going to be a struggle. So that trade is not worth taking for me, right? I don't want to trade from here to here if price is already showing me that this is as far as it wants to go. So I want something above that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, and this puts us in a no trade zone like we was before, but this time this no trade zone is from this high, so pretty much this right here, all the way to this low. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is because still here we have multiple signs that price is not trying to come under here. So we have this, and we have recently this, right? So with all this being said, I don't really have much structure to go off of. Most people would probably mark up this low right here, that higher low that price made. But the reason why I didn't use this higher low is because this was all broken, but it ended up putting us back in the same predicament that we was before, which is a no trade zone. So I'm not using this low because we still don't know if price wants to come under this level. So it is no point in me taking a trade from under here, or let's say if we was waiting for a correction, I'm not going to take that trade back down to here. What I'll do is I'll wait for price to break an indication from this side. Now, most people will tell me like, dang, you could, if it does correct, you can take that trade back down. But I would rather take the trade where it breaks this level. Now, the reason why I would rather take this trade is because with this, we already have a new low. So remember Sunday when I was speaking in the last video that price was going to go from here to here? Price already did that. Then it made a higher low and repeated it again. So the chances of price coming back up to here from here to here could be very slim, right? We could get a situation where price could come up to these levels. Once it does, rejects, makes a lower high, and then continues down. We can get into those situations. But the reason why I like the sell setup more is because we haven't touched this low yet, right? This is an untouched level. This is still a new low even though we have all this other stuff, this is new. And the reason why it's new is because there's nothing else that beats it, right? There's nothing else that beat it. So this is still the lowest low we have in this whole scenario. Now, if we was looking at lows, it would obviously be this higher low, price broke, and now we have this low. But once we break this whole average of lows, so the average of lows is right around this area. Price is normally going to make a low right around this 5,000 or 4,503 mark. That's the average. Anything under that 503 is most likely going to average down to 4,560, right? Because it hasn't done it before. But we have a probability that sellers are still very strong here, right? You see the way that I'm thinking? I'm thinking in all possibilities. I'm okay with price buying, but it has to buy above a certain area. So it has to buy above here. So what I would do is I would go in, set my alert. Now I'll set my alert, and that's where I wait for that position. Now, will I buy when it comes above that level? For me, no, because as we see, price could come up to here, but it's way further a stretch than it is with this low. This low is not too far from this low. So this low right here isn't too far from this level right here. But for price to come up to the next high level, so even if we was to use this, for price to come up to high that level, it's a good stretch. So I would rather see instead, because most people would think that, oh, it broke out, so it's just going to go straight up. No, in my head, I would want to see some type of structure built, which will most likely be ICC. So an indication, correction, and then price will continue to go up. And then I'll place that trade for that go up that time. The reason why is I have stability to confirm that it no longer wants to go down. Just because it breaks out doesn't mean that it can't go back down, right? It broke structure, but it could just lose all momentum and then lose all volume and head right back down to where it started. That's kind of what happened here, where you can see price was on a good push, pushed up really good, came in, made a higher low, could have pushed up good again. But as you can see, Monday, right here at the bottom, as you can see, Monday on the 25th, Memorial Day, price shot the push up, ran out of volume, sellers took back control, right? So the next day, so tomorrow, let's see what our session gives. If price breaks under this low, I can sell it back down to this low down here because once again, this is a new low. And if it breaks here, that means there's no buyers in the market. So nobody is pushing price up. As you can see here, price got pushed up, pushed up. From here, you can see prices getting pushed up. So the moment that it breaks here, that means that there's no buyers here, but the next level of buyers is here, right? Because you can see buyers are sitting here pushing price up. So this is the next level of buyers. With that being said, that is my whole thought process when it comes to right now on this, what is today, Tuesday? So I gave you an analysis on Sunday. Right now, I'm giving you this analysis 2 days later. So on Tuesday, today is the 26th of May. As we're looking at the chart, gold price is at 4,517. I think price could come under 503 and get to 460. So 4,503 coming down to 4,460. That's what I'm thinking. If it doesn't do that, it has to break above 4,574 in order for it to go bullish. Anything in there, we're not trading just yet, but the moment that price breaks under these levels, I'm taking that sell down to here.